Captain.
Yes, we are.
So here we are. We are in brand new shindigs, as you can see, and there's a very good reason for that.
A big white wall behind us, you can see that? There's some white.
Guild Identities.
That's not the reason we're in new shindigs, but...
It's a good enough reason. Have you seen what these things do?
Okay, so, well, they're pretty amazing. So, Guild Identities have been released today, or not released, but teased.
Yeah, I mean,
allowed to be tested.
We're recording this on the day that they've been released as a, like you said, a tease. They've released a schedule of how they're going to introduce them to the game if it goes ahead, if we like it, not us personally.
Yeah, they're basing all of it on whether we like it.
This video changes the world. No, if the Guild Ball community likes what these do, they're going to see about implementing them properly.
They could well become standard tournament practice.
Well, not just tournament practice, they're going to become a core part of the rules.
Well, if it's available in tournaments, it's available in friendly games. It's fine.
Anyway. So, Chris will just give you a quick rundown as to what they're going to be doing.
Oh, am I now?
Yeah. You know why? Because I just want to talk about a few certain ones, and I'm thinking we're going to be better at generalising
Okay,
this.
so if you haven't seen them already, we'll tell you basically what they do for stars. So they're going to be almost like an extra player. You choose them in your roster at the beginning, you'll get a handful of cards. Say you're the Butchers, you'll have 3, 4, 5 cards, however they decide to choose it.
They haven't said yet.
And you pick a card, and that card, without changing your lineup, changes what the lineup does.
Yeah, and it's such a brilliant balancing act what they've added in here. It's so... I really think a lot of factions needed this, Brewers, and it's lovely to see how they've done it, but in ways that I wasn't expecting to see. Not in the slightest. Like, the Butchers one is a shock to me.
Well, you say Brewers really needed it because they're at the bottom of the pile, but at the same time, I think people like the Engineers needed it as well.
To bring them back in
because they really are at the top of the pile.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know what they do is you get a small bit of text on the card, which is kind of an ongoing thing, or it triggers on the card, and in return, you have to change your
Come on, mate,
healing.
take a breather.
Yeah, come on, mate, take a breather. So, for example, just do the Butcher's one, whatever. Bloodthirst, friendly guild models gain Life Drinker, so all your models for the whole game have Life Drinker.
Powerful for the Butchers.
Broken, you think, but your not Icy Sponge, your Come On Mate and take a breather only heal for 2.
So, where you used to spend a momentum, heal 4 health, you're now spending a momentum to heal 2.
Which is kind of a big change for the Butchers, because the Butchers not only dish out damage, but become survivable if they generate enough momentum to heal every player for 8 every turn.
And it's a lovely fix as well, in a sense that no one can really justify dud activations where they just go, heal for 4, your turn, just if they want to kill the time. They can't pull that off anymore, unless of course you're playing like this end of the spectrum.
Yeah, because not all of the guild identities have reduced the come on mate things. I mean, the farmers have gone up to 5.
It's hilarious. Obviously the farmers, if you've seen them, they've come out recently, and I think it's been very interesting the way that they have played into other teams so far. They definitely rock the having more health than everyone, but an unexpected thing that no one really thought was they still go down easy.
Yeah.
I mean, down at our local club, Ox has played into the Butchers. Not into the Butchers? Ox has played into the farmers very well.
Yeah.
So the fact they can
it's
now
the whole
heal
not
for
having
5.
armour as well seems to really damage them.
So they can now heal for 5, and even their text on the card, even
when a friendly model returns to the pitch, immediately recovers 3 HP. So that's 8 healing, and then another 5 if you come on mate as well.
Yeah.
So 13 health,
potentially
healing for momentum.
And that's what's hilarious, and it's made these little tweaks that you feel like sometimes the guilds needed, because why treat everything the same for every guild? Like the Alchemist. Well, we're going to run through them anyway, so I think we should just start with the top of the pile and run down our opinions.
So we already covered the Butcher's one, but we'll just say it again. So it's friendly guild models gain Life Drinker.
Yeah.
But their Icy Sponge is reduced to 2.
Do you think it's going to work
I keep calling it Icy Sponge. It's their Take a Breather.
Yeah.
They're healing. I'm going to call
They're
it healing.
momentous heal.
I'm going to call it healing from now on.
Yeah, they're healing.
So their healing goes down to 2.
Is it going to work for them?
I don't think it's really going to shake much up for the Butchers.
No.
To be honest. It means Philip can Life Drinker.
But it doesn't.
I don't think it's going to affect Ox. But as I've thought before, it now means if you aren't attacking with every single influence in the Butcher's lineup, you're not healing.
And you're not getting... And they're very glass cannon-y. If you've played with Butchers or against Butchers a lot, and you start to get over that whole fear factor of, oh, they're going to take me out every turn, you get used to the fact that they aren't as strong in defence as they would like to be, so...
Well, it's not going to change Philip into, she can no longer wipe out 6 models in an activation.
No, she's still going to...
She's still going to be able to do that. It's not going to change anything. All it's going to change is if you're putting Swift Stance on her, if you're throwing out Dirty Noise,
Yeah.
if you're doing any of these things, you're not healing. You're one heal. And you can no longer spend momentum to heal for 4 and then spend 2 to heal somebody else for 4.
It's going to be very interesting to see how they
really,
play out.
really limits their healing unless they're in your face attacking.
And that's where they want to be. It's
them.
forcing them to play the style that they want to be playing, which I think is a lot of these guilds. It's opened up different routes for some guilds, and some of them it's narrowed them back down a bit. It's brought them back down to earth. Next one.
Engineers. This one I think is really important. It's tracer rounds. Once per activation, when each friendly non-captain, guild model important, so Ballista can't use it, uses a character play, you get to use bonus time without spending momentum. So it's kind of like Pumped that Salvo used to have.
Yeah,
way
but it's
back
for
when.
every character who's not Ballista or Pin Vice.
And it's once per activation.
Yes.
But it reduces their healing to 3.
Yes, and
Now,
that's quite fun.
Engineers are almost top of the scrap pile in goal scoring capabilities at the moment. They're on par with the Fish, I'd say, if not.
I think they've
slightly
overtaken
better.
the Fish
they're all
slightly.
very,
Slightly.
very
If
good
you're a
at
Fish
scoring
player,
goals.
we don't want to offend anyone, but we do think the Engineers have pipped you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Engineers won UK Nationals, spoilers. And
I haven't watched them yet.
they did it by having really reliable kicks and by being unkillable.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got models like Colossus, they've got models like Locust, they've got models like Hoist, who you just cannot bring down, especially when they are able to heal themselves for 4 and be healed for 4.
Exactly, and they've got high armour, a lot of them. And if they don't, then they're rocking a high defence with a decent armour, like 4s and 1 on Hoist with tough hide and
tough
sturdy.
hide, yeah.
They needed to not be able to heal for 8.
And so many of them have reanimate.
Oh my
giving them
god,
the
the
extra 3
reanimate.
health.
It's just nice to see that they've been brought, not a massive nerf, but they've brought in line with how you think they should feel.
Yeah, I think it's not a lot of difference. It's 1 health. But
Yeah.
think about it, in the double healing, it's 2 health.
6 is an achievable target.
And bonus timing character play, it's not really going to set the world on fire for the Engineers. If they're spending all their influence doing character plays, they're not scoring goals.
Yeah. I think what I quite like is that 3 seems to be the new standard rather than 4.
Yeah. I
4
agree
is
with that.
definitely the sturdier factions.
But I think the Engineers probably needed it, and it's possible, because we're going to be getting multiple cards for these,
Yeah.
it's possible that some of these other ones, this might be the highest one, there might be all the Engineers ones are now 2.
It might be that Engineers go back up to 4 because Mechanica, sturdy, defensive, maybe that'll be how the new card will play into it. This seems to focus more on Ballista's kind of control setup.
Yeah, it's on the whole gunline Engineers.
Anyway, let's not spend all time talking about the Engineers. Next up,
Fish.
I'm more scared of this one than Chris is.
I don't think it's really that scary. It's football champions, friendly guild models gain +0/+1 inch kick. But reduce their healing to 3. So they become less survivable, same deal with the Engineers. Which I think is good, especially in alliance with Corsair, Crack and Jack, all these tough hide models who are
healing for
difficult
8.
to put down. Healing them for 8 is just a nightmare.
But I don't think that... Don't get me wrong, we were discussing this very slightly earlier, and Chris made a very good point. If it was +1/+0, so...
Yeah, if it was +1/+0,
It
the
would have
Fish
been
would barely
more
ever miss
terrifying.
goals. And then the Fish would just be so far ahead of the curve. The fact that it's only an inch, for me, makes no difference. For me, the Fish are either scoring at 4 inches for tap-in,
Yeah.
or they're scoring from 8 inches. The scoring at 9 is not going to make any difference to you.
Unlike Chris, I think the inch definitely matters. And that's purely because if they fail that dodge, or if they fail that push dodge, and they need to get that little bit closer, they've now got a little bit more leeway, they've got a little bit more acceptance that maybe you don't have to hit every dodge.
I don't know. I think making their range higher means they're going to be in tap-in less. Because they need to have 5 inches to get into 4, or 3 inches rather than the 2. So it's
They're not
going
going
to
to feel
less
inclined to go for tapping as much as usual.
And with the changes to Shark as well, on top of that, it's possible that this
Shark
is not as
losing
broken
gut
as we
and
think it is.
string. Oh, you fishies out there have been hurt by that, haven't you? I still think it's a decent play, knocking down the defence. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
So next is Hunters, Nature's Bounty.
I think it's the worst of all the cards.
I think it's useful, and my argument is that it helps Scather, but we'll do what it is. It's
Yeah.
Nature's Bounty. Before deploying models, controlling player selects 1 piece of rough ground on the pitch, and you turn it into a forest. Okay, it's not going to set the world on fire.
It's another forest, and to be fair, you go, oh, but hunters like the forests. Well, Theron can no longer see through forests.
No.
They block line of sight for charging, and a lot of hunters are furious. And it's rough ground. Yes, we're all light-footed. All the hunters are light-footed.
But it takes the healing down to 3, also important.
Another thing that they didn't really need.
I don't know, but maybe their other cards are all going to have 4 or maybe 5 on. It's
They
possible
didn't
this is just the low-end one.
But from what the blogger said, the Steamforge blog, it doesn't seem that they want to make factions feel too sturdy anymore, in the sense that they were talking about things like the Hunters. If you look at them thematically, why are they healing the same as, say, a Brewer or a Mason every turn?
Yeah.
They're probably going to be looking at 3 as their highest here, and that's worrying.
But is it going to set the world on fire? No. But my one bonus for it is you can have a Forest and a Skather lineup.
It means Hearn can now jump around.
Yeah, it means you can still get your Hearn teleporting shenanigans while having the super fast Skather.
Yeah. It plays off rather interestingly, and we'll see how it goes later.
Okay, Watch the World Burn. This is my favourite one out of all of them.
Chris is really excited
This is
about
the Alchemist's one. It's enemy models suffering 1 or more conditions. When they take damage in the maintenance phase, suffer an additional 1 condition damage. So that doesn't stack. It's not like you take 2 for burning, 3 for poison, and 4 for bleed. It's after they've taken condition damage, they take an extra condition damage as long as they've taken some. I mean, that just makes Smoke's crazy throwing stuff line up super viable, right?
Well, here's the thing. I play Smoke when I play Alchemists into tournaments, and I've got a very good winning streak with them at the moment. And it's turn 1 Smoke Legendary, going out and just dropping 6 damage on everyone. And then just sitting back and going, right, you've all got conditions on you, you've all got 6 damage. Now it's your turn to try and come to me.
And with this card, that becomes 7.
Exactly, and that's not including the damage from her Legendary,
Yep.
so 10. She's now killing 10 health models. Veteran Harmony?
Mm-hmm.
She's taking out models like... What's Bushel? She's 12 health, isn't she?
Something like that.
Ah, farmers! Why have so much health?
But the thing you're not considering with this as well is that in this scenario, your opponent is also taking cards.
Yes.
So their healing is going to be reduced.
Or increased.
Or increased, but the majority of them seem to be reductions.
I mean, if we take out all the ones that are just 4 or more, there you go. It's a majority of them.
Of the 11, we've got, 7 of them are less than the original healing factor.
3 of them are the same and 1 is more. So.
But it's the difference between bleed doing 3 damage and 4 damage means healing for 4 to counter bleed is no longer a thing because you're still losing exactly the same amount of health you just healed.
Bleed for 4 or heal for 3.
Yeah, exactly.
It's now swapped that around.
And I think it's going to make models like Crucible a bit more viable because she doesn't see a lot of table time.
She needed a bit of a...
But I think with the ability to give herself conditions and chuck them out, and then those conditions hurt their opponent more and are difficult to clear because she has that whole...
It's that 2 momentum to clear it, and it makes the Alchemists more of that...
It makes a control Alchemists more viable, especially now with the changes to Vitriol and the changes to Midas. The super goal-scoring Alchemists are not really going to be a thing, but they're going to have a bit more of an identity, and this is what these cards are about.
You felt that Vitriol was a goal-scoring model?
She was a bit of everything model, but she no longer does that.
She scored the most takeouts for my team, I'm pretty sure.
Right, let's burn through.
Yes.
Next one's a Mortician's one.
Interesting one.
Inheritance tax. This one is weird for me. I mean, neither of us really played enough Morticians to really say how much this goes.
We're just going to burn through the Morticians one. Let's go for
it. Each time an enemy model suffers the taken out condition, a friendly guild model within 4 inches of that model that's just been taken out
can be
allocate an influence. It's not gain, you can't take above, but you can get an extra influence for taking a model out as long as you're in 4. Crazy stuff, potentially.
Are the Morticians that obsessed with taking things out? It may be. It makes goals more viable.
No, I think what it's doing is it's pushing the Morticians more into a take-out focus lineup because a lot of the Morticians are playing Bonesaw and Mist.
Yeah.
And Obulus. Or Scalpel.
See, I think this
And they've got crazy goal-scoring stuff and they're not focusing enough on take-outs. They've got characters like Veteran Graves and Casket in their lineup who give bonus VPs for take-outs.
And they're not using it.
And now they've got a card who rewards them for getting take-outs on top of the rewards they were already getting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's focusing them a bit. It's doing exactly what they've said they're trying to, building an identity. And this identity is a Mortician's lineup that is scary to behold.
Yeah, Morticians are going to put you in the grave. So, Union.
I mean, this is the one that they showed the main picture of before you even looked at them all. And when it popped
up,
I was like, oh, okay. I mean, as a Union player, it's a bit disappointing.
Scumbag!
Pirate's Ransom. At the end of the initiative phase, if your opponent has the initiative, so if you lose the initiative, you gain an additional momentum. So rather than getting 1, you get 2.
Defensive and counter?
Yeah, but when's that really helping? And in a rage team with Harry, you're getting momentum for rising anger and stuff anyway. Okay, probably. And it's reducing their healing to 3, same as the Morticians.
The problem is you say with Rage and Harry, let's be honest, this definitely helps teams that want more momentum to do more fun things.
I get it. I mean,
like Seabrisket.
Probably help Blackheart. Maybe what I'm not thinking of here, okay, in a Blackheart lineup or a Season Brisket lineup, you can counter-attack and go. You can go second, counter-attack to
Yep.
stop you losing that ball and dodge away, but still have the momentum to have a shot when your turn comes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, but a super situation.
Okay, what about this then? This now gives you the opportunity to maybe keep that momentum for counter-attacking, and the next turn, Faintus can unleash himself for free.
Yeah.
Got to play the heroics on that one. It's genuinely, look at it this way. You've still got the one for going second.
Mhm.
Now you've got a heroic as well.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, but
Could be fun.
it seems like when you've got stuff like Watch the World Burn and Inheritance Tax and Bloodthirst, these things seem to be, they're not broken, but they're just a little bit extra.
But they seem
This
a little
doesn't seem like a little bit extra in
No,
it.
my problem with this is it's too if. Because, let's be honest, Union don't struggle with momentum.
Yeah, that would be my one argument for this, is that the Union never struggle for momentum.
Why are you
so
losing the initiative?
Why give them an extra momentum? Like,
So-
why is that important?
Well, if you're losing the initiative as a Union, you've already achieved your goals. Because
So,
you've spent your momentum to score.
Look at it
goals.
this way, for the cost of reducing your healing to 3, you have to go second at least once.
Yeah.
And do the Union ever want to go second?
No.
So,
But that's the thing, this is all beta.
yeah.
And
It's possible all the other cards they get will completely justify this. There'll
Yeah.
be one that makes them a bit better at kicking, one that makes them a bit better at damage. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be
It's
interesting.
just maybe they've just shown this one because it is the least crazy one they could come up
And
with.
they don't want to upset people. Maybe they want to. I don't want to look over there for an answer. Maybe they want to. Anything. They want to.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll come in. We'll see. We'll play test it. Maybe it'll be good.
I don't think that one will. This one will.
Masons. Okay. When Stefan saw this one, his grin was scary. It's called Built to Last. When a guild model uses defensive stance, in addition to gaining the +1 defense for defensive stance, it gets an additional armor.
Honour goes to 4s and 3s.
So most of the Masons become 4s and 3.
With a free counter attack.
Yeah, that's.
It's so stupid. Look at it this way. It's like you said earlier. You go to 4s and 3. So your opponent rolls 8 dice, maybe 9 for the charge. They roll that. You go, right, odds, half the dice. Now take away another 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, it's so good.
But, and this is going to upset you here,
Yeah,
because as a Mason player, you're going to be upset by this.
go on then.
I feel like all this is doing is making the Masons as survivable as the Blacksmiths.
Don't see what you're talking about.
Because Anvil has 3 armour naturally.
Yeah, so does Wrecker. And he's a mascot.
Yeah, but Anvil's a captain.
Yeah, I know. But Honour can make everyone 3 armour natural anyway on her legendary.
Yeah, I mean,
We've
on,
already
on a
debated this.
legendary turn, it's going to be very difficult to bring Honour's faction
I
down.
mean, in fairness, we've debated this. When does anyone use the armour?
Well-
Has anyone...
The counterplay to this is no charging.
But that's what I think this is for. I don't think it's so that your defence against the charge is better. It's
Yeah.
because as Masons, you can now sit just at charge range of your opponent and go, you now have to charge me to engage.
You know what this does?
What?
You know when you take this, when you come up against a Furious team,
Yeah.
if somebody brings Cena, you go, well, okay then, I'll play Built to Last.
Yeah. I'm not going to be taking as much damage from you
Because
as you think.
From
you
what I understand, you pick these after you've picked the draft.
It
You
seems
draft
that's the way
your
it was
6
worded
players,
to us. That's the way we're going
and
to be
then
doing
you
it
draft
later.
your card.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about the draft all the while, picking your 6 players, so your captain mascot,
Yeah.
or your captain and apprentice if you're a blacksmith, because they don't have mascots.
Scumbags. I don't want the blacksmith.
You
I've got
draft the
this
rest of your
hatred
team, and then you draft effectively your identity card,
for it. Yeah.
which then
It's
justifies the 6 players you've
It's
just
like a
picked.
tactic. It's your coach, you, looking at your opponent's 6 and going, right, lads, we've trained for zone 6. Here's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's how this should be working.
And Built to Last feels very much like that, because you look at your opponent's draft and you go, oh god, they've got
Minx,
and
Fahad,
Cena and
Cena.
Fahad. I'm going to be getting 3 charges a turn that are free.
I need to stop
You know
that from being
what?
effective.
For free,
Yeah, that's the thing. You're still getting your
I'll
normal...
upgrade my
These
defensive stances, and Tower gives off free
Defend the ground
defensive
anyway,
stance.
so- And here's the other thing. This is the first one that we've spoken about where come on, mate, and take a breather.
stay at 4.
Stays at 4. Because Masons are hardy.
Yeah.
They are survivable.
And they're supposed to be able to heal and things. They don't have an awful lot of access to healing like
Yeah.
some other the guilds and things.
And now we've got the most, the faction. I'm not really overly fussed by them.
Next one's Tough as Nails for the Blacksmiths.
I just haven't been enamoured by
This
them.
one's pretty crazy. I mean, once per turn when a friendly guild model suffers a knockdown condition, the model can gain +1 armour till the end of the current activation. I mean, okay, maybe it's not setting the world on fire, but it's going to mean that if you knock Anvil down,
He's now
He's-
4.
2's because you can't reduce below
Yeah.
2, you get an extra dice. But he
But
gains
4.
an extra armor, so you don't really gain anything from knocking him down.
But that's what I think this is for again, because the people have looked at the blacksmiths and gone, here's what we do. You knock them down, and their natural low defense gives you the dice to get over the armor.
I mean, it seems
This
kind
card
of
seems to sort of negate that tactic.
And again, healing stays at 4.
But this card does negate that tactic, but it forces people to play against what you would assume is the blacksmith's weakness, which is a hard football team.
So it's an auto pick card against like Brewers,
Yeah.
because they're just going to spend the whole game knocking you down. So
Or
why wouldn't you get a
farmers.
bonus armor if you could?
Farmers only knock you down.
Not Thresher's farmers, Granger's farmers do.
What farmers are released at the moment?
Yeah, but the
Okay,
blacksmiths aren't out
Of
at
the
the moment.
farmers that are released, so the ones that everyone can use, it works. But we're not going to count them, apparently.
No, we're talking for future here, because
Yeah.
we're talking about a guild that aren't even out yet.
They're out in America. To all the Yanks out there watching this, why?
They're not.
I'm
I'm pretty
kidding.
sure all of our subscribers are in this
Yeah,
country.
I know.
Okay, so next one, Brewers, who clearly need some love.
Oh, I still love the Brewers.
Yeah.
Oh, before we actually say anything, I think I know who this fix is. We'll carry on anyway.
Yeah, it's called Another Round. Super fluffy there.
Yeah.
Like, keep drinking, boys. Once per turn, friendly guild model can use a heroic play without spending momentum. So, okay, that doesn't sound like it's going to be great. Keeps the healing at 4,
Yeah.
so Brewers stay at their natural survival
But they are a
themselves.
sturdy faction, which we needed to see there anyway.
But they have a lot of heroic plays, so you probably want to be using them.
And now they can.
And now they can use 1 free 1 a turn.
Do you want to hear who I thought this would be good on? Who do you never want to spend the momentum to activate their heroic play?
Tapper.
No.
Estes.
No. Okay, I feel like a...
All of them.
Steve! You never want to activate his heroic.
I'm sorry, are you saying that you would justify bringing possibly the worst model in Guild Ball just so you can have a free heroic play?
I feel like this makes it so you don't have to spend the momentum to activate
No,
explosive
I know
blows.
exactly who that card is for. That card is so on turn 1, if you kick the ball off,
Yeah.
Spigot can still drop his heroic, so you can have 2/2 move.
Yeah.
That is what that is for. That gets the Brewers off the starting line without having to generate a momentum. Because they really struggle to generate
do.
momentum if they kick the ball off.
Another thing that we have to remember here is we're just desperate to find some love for Steve.
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers really seem to be falling out of favour with a lot of people at the moment, and the people who are running them really are having to bring the same 6 models in a lot of the lineups as well.
It's sad.
I feel a couple of their models just need a little bit of adjustment.
I think a few of... And I think as well, the newest releases haven't done them.
Yeah, Pint Pot didn't add anything to the Brewers.
The worst thing is Pint Pot sort of pulled them further apart, because people want to include Pint Pot, but he doesn't fit a current place. It's so
And I
bizarre.
know we've argued before against normals for veterans,
Yeah.
but the veteran Spigot was such a takeaway from their team. You give them a cool footballer, great, but you've just taken away +1 damage, +2/+2 move,
Yeah.
football legend. All
Yeah.
of these things made the Brewers viable,
I know.
and you've taken them away to give them a
A
pseudo shark.
I like Vet Spigot. We have this argument almost daily now, and
Okay, so last one, Farmers 1, we covered it earlier, Eat Hearty. When a friendly model returns to the pitch, it immediately recovers 3 HP.
And it heals for 5.
And
so
it
it's
heals
just
for 5, crazy.
bulky
And the
healing.
other thing you're not thinking about, Harrow,
he heals them anyway for
heals
2.
them in turn. So the healing their farmers are getting out of this is crazy.
The only thing I can think to add to what Chris has said is when I first read this card, I thought it said "Eat Harry," and
It's not really adding anything.
Well, I just thought maybe with the recent nerf to Harry and the fact that maybe people out there just don't like him.
No.
Eat him.
No.
Takeaway is crazy.
No.
What's going on?
I mean, is
Sometimes
this
fine.
going to be great? The
We're
healing
about to
for
find
5
out.
is going to be good for Windle, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because he loses health very, very quickly all the time.
2-0.
Being 2-0, when he gets knocked down, even worse. But there's ways around it with Tough Hide and giving him...
So that's Guild Identities, and we're really excited to see where they're going to go.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when we have 5 or 6 of each of these.
I'm
Get to
expecting, if any of you saw this when it happened, when the Farmers Release event came out, they had abilities for captains and mascots from Harvest Markers. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of those sort of coming back in the theme
Yeah,
for the
maybe.
Guild Identity. So the Hunters one, giving maybe a character return isolated target.
Yeah.
Play off your snared a bit more. And stuff like with the Masons, being able to, I don't know, just drop a bit more armor.
And it's not just that. For me, the great thing about these is what they can change in the rules without changing the rules. The rules are nice where they are. They're simple, they work.
It plays well.
We're looking at alt deployment now
Yeah.
and cage ball as these kind of alternate ways of playing the game.
Haven't tried them yet.
That make it faster or less VPs.
He has.
And
I haven't. I haven't tried anything different yet because
alt
I'm
deployment,
stubborn.
I'm all for. Cage ball, I don't like reducing your teams down to 4. But maybe they're good for learning scenarios. I like that.
But you definitely enjoy the alt deployment.
Yeah, I love the alt deployment rules. I think it's better than normal Guild Ball. It skips turn 1. It's turn 1 for every faction except the fish and the engineer's ballista gun mine is a pointless turn.
I'm the only guy that really likes turn 1 because I like that sort of getting.
You're a Mason. Your turn 1 is literally this model moves here, this
It's
model
getting
moves
into
here,
your-
this model moves here.
Get into your opponent's head and play around. And go, oh, I'm going to go sort of over here. Are you going to drag? Trying to get that positioning on your opponent, that jostling to see where you're going to be.
But my point is, these cards, one things you might start to see on these cards, which I think might be good, are if friendly model is within 4 inches of friendly model.
Yeah.
Forcing you to play 2 players a bit narrower. Forcing you to play players a bit... If model is not within 4 inches of this model,
Gain this.
play them wider. It gives them an opportunity to make teams do what they want these teams to do.
I think the main
without
thing,
forcing it on people.
the main thing that we've said, and you've probably heard it from the way we're describing it, it makes the teams feel thematically different from each other.
And it makes
now.
them feel more like what you expect them to feel like. What do you expect from a butcher's team when you see them on the table? You expect them to run in and start chopping meat. They're butchers. You expect damage and attacks and bleeding.
This
life drinker, that makes sense.
But taking the healing down to 2, they're not concerned about healing
They're
themselves
not worrying
by
about,
taking
they're
a
just
breather.
going to attack you.
They're just going to live off the bloodthirst.
Football champions, the Fish, have been described as the greatest footballing team
We
ever
haven't
lived.
seen it recently. Engineers.
So let's make them slightly better footballers.
It does. I think. I don't know. I'm not going to debate that versus how the Engineers' natural kick is already amazing. That's a later debate.
So, Guild Identities, first impressions, yes.
Yeah, we like
Keep going, Steamforge. We want to see more.
What we're going to do now is stop this video, set up. We're going to play a game, Hunters
Using
Farmers. Use these, see how it goes. I'm expecting to get absolutely slaughtered. If you're gonna watch, I should say, our Field
And I'm
of Screams
expecting 5 turns of Windle standing still.
4. If you've
'Cause
watched,
it's
if you've watched the Field of Screams 4 vlog that we're going to put up,
I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure this is going up before the Field of Screams 4 vlog.
if you watch it after this, just know I didn't have a good run with the Hunters. He had a pretty good run, not with the Farmers.
No.
Butchers.
That's running bushes. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm rambling. We've been the vice captain, I suppose. Kind of. We're back. We'll catch you next time.